Well, let me tell you about Kelsey Ryan. She was the first person I knew that had an iPhone. It was mass comm class. She was a student in my class, and she came bopping into class and she said, "Look at this, the screen turns any way you turn the phone." And this was the craziest thing I ever said. And I told her, I said, this is just a fad. I can't believe I said that. But she was right, and it wasn't the last time that Kelsey would be right about things. Kelsey was an exceptional editor for the Bulletin, the campus newspaper here at Emporia State. She set the bar for all of the editors that came later. She was a natural leader. She had good news judgment from the very beginning. She learned from her mistakes, and she took the role of a student journalist seriously. Student journalists have a really difficult job in that what they do while they're still learning their craft and their discipline is on display for everyone to see, including the mistakes. And this is one of the hardest things, I think, for student journalists to cope with. She set the groundwork for the journalist she was to become. In other words, accountability, dedication, responsibility, and a greater vision of how journalism works in a free society. Her first job after graduating in 2011 was at my old newspaper, the Joplin Globe, and her very first story there was the Joplin tornado, in which 165 people died. So imagine being thrown into that environment where you are to cover a major disaster, where the dead and dying are still in the streets, where there's not electricity, where it's hard to get water, where the newspaper was hit hard, there's rain coming in through the roof, most are homeless, and she excelled. She did the job with compassion, she did the job with attention to detail, and this really set the tone for her professional career. From there, she went on to the Wichita Eagle, where she embraced data journalism, did lots of investigative work, and from there she went on to the Kansas City Star. As part of the investigative team that produced the series Why So Secret Kansas, Kelsey shared in being a Pulitzer finalist at the Star, which is a really big deal, and this is not too long after she had graduated from Emporia State, so I was extremely proud of her for that. Not just that series of stories, but for all the series of stories that she wrote. What Kelsey concentrates on is a particular brand of investigative journalism called solutions journalism. And it's not just, how can I say this, that it's not just exposing wrongdoing and identifying problems, but it's also suggesting solutions for those problems, which I think is very much needed today in journalism and everything else. Kelsey's new project is The Beacon. And what The Beacon aims to do is to address the issues surrounding the legacy model of commercial journalism while still being accountable to audiences. And what she is concentrating on is finding a solution, funding a solution actually, to provide investigative reporting for Kansas and Missouri and other areas in the Midwest that will help local news agencies cover those important stories that they should be covered. And what Kelsey has done is become a kind of journalistic entrepreneur in identifying those pieces of the puzzle and putting them together in a way that will allow investigative journalism to be practiced independently and also arrive at a sustainable model, perhaps a nonprofit model, perhaps a model that is funded from various sources, but one which is responsive to the region it serves. And that's really kind of a cool idea, so I'm, as always, very proud of Kelsey. If Kelsey were here, she would be embarrassed to hear me say this, but Kelsey really is the future of journalism. If journalism is to survive, it will take leaders like Kelsey to find a better model than the one we have now. So Kelsey, I'm really proud of you, and congratulations on this award.
As a 2011 graduate of Emporia State University, Kelsey Ryan, after graduation, has accomplished an incredible amount during this brief time, and we're very proud to honor her with this award.